All right, so here's my AR-15. It's all broke down, and if I had fired this firearm, then I might have, depending on how many rounds I fired, if I went 100 or more, I would have broke it down a little bit further, taking out your fire control group, your trigger, and your hammer assembly, and then along with tearing apart or taking apart the BCG, taking out that cotter pin there to remove the hammer, or not the hammer, but the actual bolt itself, and the firing pin. Things like that, you really want to make sure that when you're shooting a lot of rounds through it, you want to check on those properly. Another thing I would look into is cleaning out my gas assembly here. Like, get some solvent, spray it down that tube, make sure there's no carbon buildup in there, stuff like that. There's no foreign debris that might get lodged in there during the cleaning process. Cleaning your barrel, so you always want to take a look at your barrel and the ride or the grooves, make sure everything looks proper and it's not wearing down too bad. When I do my barrel, I would actually do this while it's on the firearm itself instead of off like it is, and I would take a line here and run a brush, a special brush through it, and with a couple times, and I would put a little bit of some carbon destroyer on there to help get in there and break up a lot of that carbon. Once I brushed it a couple times, then I would run a patch through there and make sure it's clean. You can do the patch lubed or dry. I prefer to do it lubed a couple times, and that's just going to keep everything wet and get everything clean. And then I'll do a dry patch afterwards to make sure I got everything cleaned up properly. Once everything is clean, you're going to want to lube up all your contact areas. So on your BCG, along the bottom, anywhere where it kind of like sits and rides along that system, causing a little bit of wear or tear on that system, is where you want to put that gun or that lubricating oil on there. CLP works really good. So as you see on my charging handle, I got a couple areas where it's rubbing along there. Inside my fire control group, so on those springs right there on the sides there, back here in the back, and then actually kind of work it in there, get it nice and lubed up. Maybe take it off a safe, or take it off a safe, and then slowly work that in there with your hand, not letting it slam up, because you can break your system. Okay, and then I would reassemble the firearm properly, all back together, and do a function check with some snap caps. Let it put one in the chamber, squeeze the trigger, make sure everything sounds right. Eject that one, let another one in there, make sure everything sounds right, squeeze that trigger again, and so on until I felt like everything was good to go.